everybody, this is herculespetix, founder, curator, docent, and gift shop employee of the herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies. Tonight, we're going to look at Snake and Bacon's Cartoon Cabaret by Michael Kupperman. This is a 2000 collection of many various strips by Michael Kupperman over the years. I don't know how old the oldest one is, but I'm pretty sure he's been doing comics since the late 80s, early 90s. So some of these were in heavy metal, some were in Nickelodeon. They're from all over the place. Nickelodeon magazine, I meant to say. It's a nice little softcover paperback from HarperCollins. And I gotta say, I had a great time reading this tonight. I just got off work and went to bed and read this. And I was laughing my ass off. This Michael Kupperman, I think, is the funniest cartoonist ever. And here's a dedication to his mom and dad. Some of his humor is just like inexplicable. Just these cats boxing, that drawing is just so funny. So they split this up into chapters, even though it doesn't seem like they're thematically divided. Chapter 1, How to Make It in the Show Business. And the chapter headings, the drawings are really well done, but they're also just like very odd. I think they're not even trying to be funny. They're just weird little surreal drawings. So this is the kind of, sometimes it has really dumb humor, like Mr. Bossman in Creamed Corn Bossman. And this weird waiter comes up to Mr. Bossman and says, "Here's your personalized 24-pound serving of creamed corn, sir." "What? I didn't order this." And then he drops it on his lap, and then he laughs at him and says, "Ha, look at the big baby." I know some of you might not find this funny, but I do. Here's Pablo Picasso. I love the way he draws Pablo Picasso. Pablo Picasso, His Amazing Life, Part 1, The Cubist Years. Just various facts about Picasso that are completely made up. Picasso would get in arguments with an imaginary classical piece of statuary that was following him. And another problem plaguing the small, fiery cubist was frequent lion attacks. And all of these people that bother him, or these things, he threatens to break them down into little cubes. Loves Tiny Robot. This is kind of a romance comic. This woman who keeps falling in love with hobos, but this little robot guides her so she can meet Mr. Right. So now Snake and Bacon are his kind of his star characters, which is hard to believe. Snake and Bacon is this like low concept that is really run into the ground the first time you read it. And not only are there many comics about Snake and Bacon, but they even made animated cartoons, or they tried to. There was a pilot for Snake and Bacon. But of course, Kupperman's absurdist humor makes them funny. But the actual shtick is that Snake and Bacon are just in various scenarios, and Snake always goes sss, and Bacon, who you'd think would also go sss because he's sizzling, will just say facts about being bacon. "I'm crisp, real bacon. You can put me on a BLT. Wipe me with a paper towel to remove excess grease." That's the whole shtick, and he never deviates from it. But I love this, just like, so this dumb idea, and we see this guy in the background, and he walks over to his buddy and says, his buddy says, "What are you doing?" "Oh, I was just in the background of that new Snake and Bacon project. It's a real disaster." So sometimes he'll start with a concept and it'll just spin off into craziness. Like this one. I wish I could read all of these to you, because there's a lot of funny things in here. They talk about their movie career. All the movies they were in. They were in a remake of Mice and Men. Of Mice and Men 2. That's not a mouse. That's a shrew. They were in the sequel to The Maltese Falcon. They've also been involved in war politics. Here they are with the big three. I like how Well, they have an advice column, and of course, it's just, I'm a piece of bacon. You can put me in a sandwich. That's their advice to people. But they talk about the imitators. There's been many imitators over the years. Ham and Asp, Gecko and Gouda, Newt and Prosciutto, and Mad About You with Paul Reiser and Helen Hunt. Oh my God, I love this one. Roger Daltrey's Sex Diary, where Roger Daltrey wants to shag some birds. And he basically thinks out loud. He says, "Where are the birds?" And this guy, he says, "I've got 2 birds for you here." And he shows him an ostrich and a turkey. And he's like, "I don't mean those kind of birds." And he says, "Oh, well, here's a meadowlark." And he's like, "Oh, for fuck's sake, you're wasting my time." So he meets this guy who looks like a beatnik at a disco. And he says, "Pardon me, have you seen any birds?" I'm not even trying to do the English accent. I'd probably do it badly anyway. And he says, "Yeah, I've got a bird here who's a deep diver, if you know what I mean." And Roger Daltrey's like, "All right." And then it's it's this bird here, a loon. And then he pulls off his disguise, and it's that same guy. And he says, "Tee hee, I've ruined your sex diary, Mr. Big Time Rock and Roll Star." And we will get to see these guys again. Captain Marginal, a little parody of Captain Marvel here. We see little Billy Batson Sauce. He goes into that cave to meet the wizard. His name's not Shazam. And he says, "I'm going to give you a secret word that every time you say it, you'll get special powers. Screwpaw." It's an acronym. And the S is for sperms of endearment. The K is for King Dong. The R is for romancing the bone. He's like, "Those are porn movie titles." And then the wizard says, "I've been in this cave alone too long. I've forgotten the real list." I don't know why just that word screwpaw is funny. I love this drawing here. So Billy is basically just like, screw this. Billy's extremely dissatisfied with his stupid new powers and vows never to use them to fight crime and injustice. This I swear. Here we have Fairy Tale Land Confidential. This one's kind of, it could be in Mad Magazine from the 60s. Just all these scandalous things that Puss in Boots and Snow White are involved in. Swamp Blanket Bingo. People trying to have a beach party in a swamp. They're getting eaten by gators. He has a bunch of strips here. Hercules, the public domain superhero. We'll see a lot of him. He basically acts like the Hulk. Funky Obsessed Detective Robot. And these 2 guys are like, "No way, that's a real robot. Take off his head." Peter Falk. And hello, boys. Cousin Grandpa's another recurring character. Fake ads here. Make big money. Teach your cat electric appliance repairing at home in your spare time. Give your child a criminal name. Ratso, Jink Jinx, the Fizzy Kid, Saline Pete, Gropius, Rubenesque Tony. I love all these little gags. They appear throughout. He uses Rubenesque Tony later on. So here's chapter 2, planning our summer vacation. It's a beautiful drawing. We'll see this guy again too. So here's Hercules. And this strip is just so inane and hilarious. That looks like he swiped that from a Hulk panel. Early Kirby version. The Adventures of Underpants on His Head Man. This is another character we'll see a bunch of. And he's at the zoo, and he's so amazed at these animals and all their powers. He says, "Oh, we should team up to fight crime, me and one of these animals." So these 2 kids with a ventriloquist book, they're like, "Let's trick this guy." And they make the elephant say, I'll be your partner. Come over here and we'll discuss it. And the elephant picks him up and throws him. And he lands right in these criminals who are robbing the zoo bank where the animals put their money. And he gets a medal from the mayor. And he thanks his new partner, the talking elephant. These letters to Underpants Man are pretty great too. Here's Mr. Bossman again. This one's very odd and surreal. Have you ever tasted adventure in your own bathtub? Here's that guy in the bathtub we saw earlier at the chapter heading. This one is... it starts off with that guy, and then it takes this left turn where, he bums money from this, businessman. And he calls in his secretary, and... she says, oh, sorry, I let that guy in. I've been daydreaming about when I was a big star. And she can't help thinking about when she was a big star. She was a child star named Toddy Tinkles, child star of The Wild Potty, and numerous other popular toilet training films. And this is when they were very popular. And I guess in the 30s and 40s, these movies would educate people. Because back then, supposedly in the 30s, people would just go to the bathroom in their pants and then jump into the nearest river to clean up. Here's one of her lines. Gonna go potty in the pot. Anywhere else, potty there I'll not. Oh, God. There's just these scenes from these movies are so great. But then I guess, the world had moved on and forgot all about her. So now she's just a lowly secretary. But she says to herself, I'm not too old. I can still dance and sing. And she gets a role in a low-budget movie. And then it somehow comes back around to that guy in the bathtub. I love this guy in the bathtub. He has all these imaginative, in his head, he's fighting World War I biplanes in his bathtub with a machine gun. He's traveling through outer space. And I love this last one where he's spearing a whale like Ahab in his bathtub. Here's Tales of Deep Irony, and it's hosted by Mark Twain. This review from Publishers Weekly should go over big with irony fans. This one is so funny. So this 130-year-old Confederate soldier comes out of a bush. He says, don't shoot. You ain't a Yankee, are you? Have we won the war yet? And the person, we can't see who he is. He says, you don't know? The Confederacy lost. How ironic, because I am a Japanese soldier who believes that World War II is still going on. That's pretty ironic. I love these fake comic book covers he has. Dr. Terror's House of Errors. Boo, we are haunting you because you have been a bad man, Bill Edwards. My name is Sam Jones. Hercules and Dracula. Two-tailed fists. These fists with two tails. And this guy's just I don't get it. Pirates, hobos, and robots waiting for adventure. And they're just sitting around bored. Tomorrow romance. Beep, beep, I am a robot and I love you. Beep, beep. A Snake and Bacon comic. TV in Hell. I guess Happy Days and game shows are very popular in Hell. But the worst of Hell are forced to watch Barney. Chapter 3, Lessons in Anger Management. Another very interesting drawing. He was making fun of those old novelty gags ads from comic books, but they're all revolutionary. Basically, all of these products fake cheese and hot pepper gum are used for radical purposes. So here's Snake and Bacon in Transportation. And this chief of police gives Snake and Bacon a mission. He says, prostitutes are now traveling around using modes of transportation to get to their johns, such as buses and trains. That's the premise. And then, of course, it takes another left turn. Here's Cartoon Cavalcade. This is a war comic parody. Very absurd. Pablo Picasso, His Astonishing World. I love this weird guy, King Champignon. Such an odd character. It looks like something from not a nightmare, actually a dream. And of course, Picasso threatens to break him into little cubes. Here's the head, this floating head, who starts romancing this woman, and they become an item. I love how this guy tells her a story about how he went to Sandwich High, where for 4 years he learned nothing but how to make and eat sandwiches. He was the only boy there, so he made out like a bandit. And then he decides he's so bitter because there's one girl in the whole school who ignores him, and this makes him crazy and bitter. So he decided to become a crime-fighting superhero to use his anger effectively. And one day a bat is outside his window. It's a fruit bat. So he says, I need to strike fear into the hearts of the guilty. A costume, a symbol. I shall dress up as a piece of fruit, a different kind every month. So he becomes the Fruit of the Month Club man. Every month he's dressed as a different fruit. And then he mentions all these other superheroes rose up. Captain Punch in the Face, the Beast Master. He squirted gangsters with turkey juice. Oh, I love this. The Rugster. He'd pull the rugs out from under gangsters. Captain Beaver. He had all the powers of a beaver. The Kickboxing Cake Boxer. So just this guy who carries a boxed cake around and he beats up criminals. The Man Goose. The 2x4ster. He just bashed this guy's head in with a 2x4. So, if you remember, this comic started as a romance between this floating head and a woman, and then somehow it turns into this. But then it, kind of circles back. Here's Dead End Alley. And, this one's okay. Some more little strips. Some are very odd. Wonderbook Jr. is his Encyclopedia Brown type character. Little Snake and Bacon. Santa Jones. Dick Crazy. Hey Hamhole. Yes Fly Eyes. These are great villains. Long John Silver's Sex Diary. This one's called Hay Driver. Love that opening panel. Really nice. Chapter 4, The City World of Modern Aviation. God, I love these. These are really great. The Pirate in the Sock Drawer and the Cowboy in the Dinner Roll. Just as silly as they sound. The Sex Blimp. It's Long John Silver apparently is a sex blimp. He actually, this comes back. And this guy is Long John Silver beseeches him. He says, come on, matey, have a good time on my party sex blimp. And the guy goes on the little gangplank and he falls because it's kind of a rickety little plank. And he's like, goddamn sex blimp. Next we have District Attorney of 1,000 Faces. This is a really impressive, a lot of illustration in this one. Yeah, his early strips when he was P. Revis, that was his alias for a long time. God, it's kind of a little obsessive. Just everything has a grain to it, or this crazy line work. And then look for the other district attorney titles. Flying District Attorney, Rabid District Attorney. And please also try District Attorney Ham. I promise to be tough on lawbreakers and to be a delicious full-bodied ham. Oh, I love this guy. TV Temptation, odd little story. The towering building full of rats. It's kind of a parody of the Towering Inferno. He says, look, Cartwell, your building is simply too tall. I predicted the Earth's next rotation, we're going to bump into the moon. Look, we missed it by 5 feet. And then it just gets ridiculous. For some reason, there's millions of killer rats in the walls. And they all start attacking. I like how this one guy, he's trying to get in good with the rats. So he has a sign that says, hooray for rats. Because here they are all behind this wall. This glass partition. There's millions of them. So there's a little advertisement here. They all laughed at me until my penis turned into a fishing pole. And then this guy gets attacked by rats, which they mention in the real comic. They're like, the rats got into the ad over there and ate some guy. They'll be here soon. But then, guess who shows up to save them? They're all getting attacked by rats. The building's on fire. It's Long John Silver and his party sex blimp. He says, come aboard, gents. And they fly away to safety. That's a Deus Machina. More tales of deep irony. This guy makes a potion to give him the strength of 20 men. And just all these random things happen in his comics. Like, he's talking to his wife. And then all of a sudden, this guy pops up. He says, hello, I'm the Black Knight, and I'm here from another comic. He's like, go away, I'm drinking serum here. He says, it's working, I can feel it. It gives me the strength of 20 men. And then his wife says, Anton, there are 25 men at the door who want to beat you up. Chapter 5, How to Make Friends and Influence Toads. Another really good drawing. Aren't you tired of the sex plumps with their dangerous, poorly thought out boarding ramps? Then try America's newest craze, the sex hole. So I guess you climb down into these holes. A Love Set to Music. This is another romance parody. This woman falls in love with this kind of idiot. I like how he takes her to the theater. He says, hey, I've got 2 tickets to an Italian movie on how to play the accordion. It's just an instructional film, but it's in Italian. And so I guess they start dancing, and the theater manager comes out to complain, to yell at them. But then he sees how in love they are, and he says he marries them on the spot. But then I woke up. Yes, it was all a dream, only a dream. Alas, back to my dull, boring life as a space pirate. Sigh. Coming soon, the Manister, the man who can transform himself into a banister. We'll see more of him later. Narcotics murders, they're lovely. Whoops, not lovely, horrible. We just read this recently, well, I did to you, in an anthology, this very same strip. I can't remember which one it was, though, but I think it was within the last month. Here's another Dick Tracy. Oh, my God, I love this one. He says, I'm tired of being in this bucket. I'm going to call the chief using my 2-way wrist TV. And he looks down at his wrist. What the? A fly is sitting in a tiny easy chair watching what's happening now on my wrist TV. There's another recurring character, Cousin Grandpa. Wonderbrook Jr. versus Hercules. I love the drawings in this one. Weird little story. Ozzy Osbourne in the 25th century. Very silly. I like this Man Cake the Magician. Stay your sword, mighty Viking. There's a squirrel which lives in my hat. And then he gives him some flowers. Okay, that one just makes no sense at all. So now we have Rabid District Attorney, which we saw the little mention of in the earlier strip. Once again, really nice illustration. And of course, the gag is he's just... will Your Honor please ask the District Attorney to stop biting me on the leg? Ow, ow. Just foaming at the mouth. And then they just go off on... He goes off on all these crazy tangents. This manager at a grocery store says, "Damn it, William Henry Harrison, you're fired. You spend very little time bagging groceries and far too much time hanging out in the storeroom with your buddies King Kong, the Wolfman, and Frankenstein's monster. Not pictured." Then this butcher is asked to visit a dying child in the hospital for some reason. And it turns out it was all a scam. Well, after there's a dream sequence where ninjas attack him, and then the kid is just trying to sell newspapers. So he gets out of bed. He's a newsboy. And we get some more previews of the other district attorney titles. Criminal district attorney. He works on both sides of the law. Flying district attorney. And this very odd nebulous picture here. It's kind of a weird fake ad. 19th century Hercules. Ever since their encounter with a glowing meteorite, Hercules and Sherlock Holmes have been combined into single person, Sherlockules. It's like Amalgam Comics all over again. So he's hanging out with Watson. Of course, he's still a big moron who just wants to smash things. And then the Prime Minister of England visits him. But he, due to a glowing meatball, has been fused with Thor. So he's Thor's Rayleigh, the Prime Minister of England back then. And he basically says, a young girl's vanished, so we need you to find her. And he takes Sherlockules to the scene of the crime. This is where she was last seen, chasing a large talking rabbit. So he's talking about it's Alice. And so he just runs in and starts smashing things. Chapter 6, When Great Men Collaborate. The Black Apple and Pea Pod in Couscous Pals. So it's like a parody of the Twinkie Heads, but it's so fucking nuts. Just, I don't know why, just that's the funniest superhero name ever, the Black Apple. So they're fighting this villain is here. He has a lady over his head, he's just going to throw her. And she says, "I know what to do." And she puts this bowl of couscous right next to him. And the villain stops what he's doing, stops ruining the city. And he says, "Gee, this sure is some good couscous." And here's the little ad for it. Next, we have experienced criminals and detectives play games of cat and mouse in hideouts and stakeouts. Really funny, daffy stuff. Some more of these great comic book covers. Two-Fisted Poe, Quote the Raven, Lights Out. Cowboys and Astronauts. The Adventures of Egghead, Peanut Head, and Zeus. I'm going to break open your heads and dine on peanut and egg with the goddess Athena. A little Greek mythology humor there for you. Weird Adventure, featuring the man who could become a banister, the Manister. And I love this evil-looking guy in a fez. "Oh, curses, I wanted that lady to fall off that staircase, but she was saved by the Manister." I would love if these were real comics. This one's so nuts. Bob Dylan in House Full of Murder. And it's introduced by the Crypt Hag, who is just a doddering senile old lady just going, "Hee hee hee hee, murder, hee 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 hee." Oh, God. And then we cut away. She's high. We need someone else to do the introductions. "Okay, I'll do it." And then she starts narrating. And so Bob Dylan inherits this house. This old guy says, "There's a lot of dead bodies in here. There were 187 people murdered in the house. And this city has a really lazy coroner, so they're all still in the house." His name is Quimpy. Speaking of amalgam, I will gladly give you the cause of death Tuesday for a hamburger today. And it kind of looks like Jack Klugman. Oh, God, I love that. Speculative pictofiction. What might happen if Mark Twain and Albert Einstein were to team up to dig a hole to the center of the earth? And of course, that's what they do. Every panel has a funny gag in it. God, I wish I could read more of this to you. And guess who's down there? Roger Daltrey, looking for birds. And I guess they say, oh, I think you can go over there. And it's that same guy's in there showing him actual birds, like the long-legged wading bird. And Roger Daltrey's just like, no. So they continue to travel to the center of the earth. It gets really dark. I like this, how one of them says, you know, if somebody was drawing our adventures as a sort of pictofiction, I imagine he'd be very happy with our situation. He'd have nothing to draw right now, just complete blackness. So all of a sudden the lights turn on, and it's these subterranean people. So they use a lighter, and so these subterranean people are like, oh, you're a god. Come feast with us. But then they say, but then after that you'll be mashed into a fine paste. So they escape, and they're heading back up to the surface, and all of a sudden, a crazy ape attacks them. And I love how Einstein says, let's make like an atom and split, asterisk, first known usage of this phrase. These cousin grandpa strips are really like full on, just surreal, bizarro shit. It's almost like some of those weird old 30s strips. The really weird, some of those are really weird where you're like, I don't even get the joke. Like, they're pretty, some of them are pretty funny though. Just, I don't know why, just the way he draws cousin grandpa is kind of funny to me. But here's an example. So he's baling hay. Satan comes up and introduces himself, and now he's baling hay in hell. I don't know what that means. Tumbling grandpa, we just see a desert and all the tumbleweeds, and grandpa's tumbling along with them. Yeah, these are definitely the most oddest comics in the book. And I love how they're drawn really, almost in a different style. Well, not really. You can tell it's Kupperman by all the lines. But really fun stuff. Chapter 7, Mixing with Royalty. The House of Walls, classy post-style horror. And for some reason, that King Champignon and Shakespeare, Japanese William Shakespeare, introduced it. And so we see this character who kind of looks like Poe, could be Edgar Allan Poe. He says, my sister's dead from a headache, and I've walled her in. You're looking a little pale. Would you like me to wall you in? No, thank you. And he keeps saying, I'm going to wall you in. He's like, hey, cut it out. So he's walling him in. And then he's almost done. And then he says, you idiot, you're on the wrong side. You've walled yourself in. And then an orangutan with a razor comes. And he says, put that down. Come with me and I'll give you some peanuts. Later in the dentist's office, a filling is loose in one of your upper molars. I think the best treatment would be for me to wall you in. You again, no. Oh, so dumb and so funny. Here's Wonder Book Jr. again. Pretty good gag. Snake and Bacon in King Arthur's Court. There's another one that just takes so many twists and turns. So they go back in time, and King Arthur knights them. He takes them to Fairy Tale Land. He says, I could tell you about many of the colorful characters that live here, but I'm going to sing about them instead, using plenty of scat. And he starts doing this horrible song. Humpty Dumpty was feeling kind of empty. Ski-doot-and-doo, lady lives in a shoe. Biddly-bim-boo, Jack Horner and you. And then when they get back, the chief of police says, I got a new assignment for you. You two are going undercover as porno actors. Here's Pablo Picasso, his amazing life. And it's raining and Picasso's pissed. So he picks a fight with the thundercloud. And he says, I'm going to break you into little cubes. Yeah, I don't know why they give him an Italian accent. Two-fisted, heavy-handed, moralizing war tales. I like this one. Click where 477. Oh, Don, I can't go on like this. I'm not really the mechanical Abe Lincoln from the Hall of Presidents at all. I'm just a railroad worker who loves you. Maybe I can say this better in a song. I start singing this ridiculous Little Miss Muffin needed a good buffin, rock-a-diddle too. Oh, that's so dumb. I love it. These are I love just all of his strips. Because all of his daffy ideas, he gets to spit out a lot of them. I love this father reading a bedtime story to his kids. The autobiography of Bill Bixby. Mr. Bossman and personnel on Fairyland's payroll. This guy thinks he's a leprechaun because he's tiny. He starts bashing his head and he's like, I want the pot of gold. Next we have the Rockin' Bees. So this guy says, Commissioner, we're facing an invasion of deadly killer bees and they're attracted by rock music, specifically the greatest rock hits of the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. I love this. He makes up all these band names, classic hits by groups like Samaritan, Motorloaf, Black Parson, The Guessing Americans. Later, we see another kind of romance parody. And then it kind of pulls back. It's a TV show this guy's watching. And there's a commercial on for a 2 CD set for the rockin' hits of the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. And they mention the same bands. And as they start playing the music, the guy's like, they're here, no. Bzzz. The end. Snow White and the 47 assorted dwarves and pictorial symbols. This is an odd one. Now, one of my least favorite strips in the book. My Under the Boardwalk Love, another romance parody. Chapter 8, Finding the Right Babysitter. Another very evocative drawing. I like this. This is from the Lives of Cartoonists. We start in the middle. It's just like you flip the page. And pretty interesting parody of like comic book history. The District Attorney of 1,000 Faces presents Johnny Crybaby in Zoo of Madness. There's another one that's all over the place. So Johnny Crybaby was this kind of detective character. He's just a big crybaby. But of course, that stupid gag or idea, Kupperman has all these other crazy, funny, surreal ideas. And then World War II is declared, and all these various people from the zoo go off to fight the war. Here's some more fake comic book covers. Insipid Adventures. Your Honor, I loved Cream Corn, featuring more boring stories about talking gorillas. The Annoying Eye. Feeble-minded tales of fantasy. Lives of the Artist, Leonardo da Vinci, inventor of inventions. This looks like the Bazooka Joe kids. And this is just an ad for Crunchylicious crackers. Perhaps the finest achievement of the Renaissance, Sir Kenneth Clark. A little snake and bacon at the bottom. The Scaredy Kids and the Mystery of the Frenchman's Cave. I don't know if you guys ever used to watch the new show. It was a Buck Henry, Dave Thomas kind of hosted show, and they had this family, this I don't know what they were called, the Scaredy's and they would like make their hair do this with a little prop. And I wonder if Michael Kupperman saw that. Because in every panel, this boy and girl, these siblings, their hair is constantly straight up as if they're terrified. Of course, it's like the joke is that nothing scary is happening. She's telling him the story, and She's like, later we found out that this guy wasn't even French, but he was in fact Belgian. And they're like, ah. Kind of silly. Kupperman definitely has that art style that, it's pretty wonky. It changes from panel to panel. It's inconsistent, but it makes it funnier, If he drew everything perfectly nice and good, it wouldn't be as funny. It makes it's funnier art. Oh, and this one just goes off the rails. This giant robot starts attacking the city. This panel is just so amazing to me. I didn't even know what was going on at first. I was like, what is going on here? But it's their bed. They're in the ocean. The big party. Singer Tony Sardini, asterisk, renamed by the Sardine Council, is performing at the Swelligan Club. He's singing "Shut Up, You Face." Women are throwing underwear at him. But one woman throws her chastity belt and it hits him on the head. So someone says, he's probably gone back in time to King Arthur's court. That's what usually happens in these cases. So he does. And then we get to see all the characters we've seen so far. Everyone's here. Hercules, the underwear on his head man, cousin grandpa. And he even makes new characters. So these two kind of hipster beatnik types, they're style experts. They're like, this place is too crowded. Let's hit ourselves in the head and go back to an earlier crowded party. Sorry, less crowded party age. So they go back to the caves of what was that called? The famous cave with the French caves with the paintings, the earliest caveman paintings. And they're critiquing them as if they were, art critics. And then that's the end, which is a very zany last page. So there you go, guys. I know, trust me, this stuff's way funnier than me reciting it. I don't have great delivery. But, God, he has so many fucking funny, crazy ideas in here. And Michael Kupperman still do it. Well, he doesn't anymore. Now he does serious graphic novels. And in fact, I think he doesn't even do comics anymore. He got discouraged. I read an interview with him. It was very depressing. After, I think, his last graphic novel, he was kind of bitter in the interview, just saying, nobody gives a shit about, I busted my ass making this graphic novel. Nobody seemed to like it. It didn't sell. I think I'm done. But I just wish he stuck with the funny gags. He's so good at it. I think he's the best. Michael Kupperman, every time I read his stuff, I laugh out loud. That's pretty rare with a comic to actually laugh out loud. And the fact that consistently he does, for decades now, he's been making me laugh out loud. And I don't know, maybe he's making strips again. That would be great. Check out his Tales Designed to Thrizzle from Fantagraphics. I believe they've been collected into 2 very nice hardcovers. I have one of them. That's why I didn't show that off today, because I want to wait till I get the other one. But highly recommended. And especially in this world right now where there's not much laughs, at least Michael Kupperman's books can make you forget about shit. It actually worked. I was actually happy today reading this for the first time in maybe weeks. I was actually this is great. I love this. Getting to laugh out loud. So, highest recommendation, Snake and Bacon's Cartoon Cabaret. I bet you could find this cheap as hell. It was HarperCollins. I bet half of them were remaindered, or more of them. So, yeah, don't pay a lot for this. But get it. If you do have to pay a lot, it's still worth it. Okay, I'm rambling once again, so I'll let you guys go. And I hope to see you next time here at the Herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies.